thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, thou shalt hear the word of my mouth, and warn them from me.
Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Middle Tennessee and examining current events from a biblical perspective, this is Bible News Radio with your hosts, Randall and Stacy Harp.
All right, hey everybody. Want to welcome you to today's Monday edition of Bible News Radio. Yeah, I do. I need to go ahead and get this all set out here so I can go ahead and send this out. Thank you guys for tuning in for the show today. Hold on 1 minute while I change this. Hey John, I see you in there. All right, people. All right, so this is what we're going to do this hour. We're going to play an interview that we did with Dr. Michael Lake up at the Prophecy Watchers Conference a couple of weeks ago. And also we're going to talk about the election and some news surrounding the election here in America. Yeah, if you're not here in America, it's okay. You don't have to be. But anyway, I want to let you know that we are going to go ahead and read Psalm 103 in just a minute. And so if you have your Bible, get it out. Or, I mean, you don't have to get it out, but it might be good to get it out, just so you know. Also, you might want to get a pen and a piece of paper so you can write stuff down, because I'm going to tell you some resources that you can get in case you haven't done that yet. So, thank you for joining us today on Bible News Radio. All right. Okay, people. Psalm 103 says the following. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget none of his benefits, people. Who pardons all your iniquities, who heals all of your diseases, who redeems your life from the pit, who crowns you with loving kindness and compassion, who satisfies your years with good things, so that your youth is renewed like an eagle. The Lord performs righteous deeds and judgments for all who are oppressed. He made known his ways to Moses, his acts to the sons of Israel. Yeah, he did. The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in loving kindness. I don't know about you guys, but I love a God like that. You know, I don't like a vengeful type God, just so you know. He will not always strive with us, nor will he keep his anger forever. He has not dealt with us according to our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. Now, I don't know about you, but we should all put that on our wall. or journal it, or consider it really highly, just so you know, because I, for one, am super happy that the Lord Jesus has never dealt with me according to all my sin. That wouldn't be good. He's very gracious. So, and then verse 11 says, "For as high as the heavens are above the earth, so great is his loving kindness towards those who fear him." Yeah, it is. Can I get an amen for that one? That's an awesome verse, Psalm 103:11. "And as far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us." And I know you guys already know this, but if this had said north and south, we would be in trouble. East and west shall never meet, but north and south do. Just as the Father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. For he himself knows our frame. He is mindful that we are but dust. And that's B-U-T, not B-U-T-T. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. Anyway, I thought that was funny. And you all laughed just now, just so you know. As for man, his days are like grass. As a flower of the field, so he flourishes. When the wind has passed over it, it is no more, and its place acknowledges it no longer. But the loving kindness of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting on those who fear him, and his righteousness to children's children, to those who keep his covenant and remember his precepts to do them. The Lord has established his throne in the heavens, and his sovereignty rules over all. Bless the Lord, you his angels, mighty in strength, who perform his word, obeying the voice of his word. Bless the Lord, all you hosts, you who serve him, doing his will. Bless the Lord, all you works of his, in all places of his dominion. Bless the Lord, O my soul. Now, I don't know about you, and I can't see anything over there, Randall, just so you know. Oh, now I can. It came back. Anyway, now I don't know about you guys, but on days when I feel a little overwhelmed, a little bit stressed out, I often go to Psalm 103, and I'm actually not feeling either one of those things today, to be honest with you. But I always love this psalm because Psalm 103 is a big reminder to me to remember to focus on the things that are important, right? On the things on what really matters in life, and that is blessing the Lord. I mean, ultimately, and there's so many, benefits here in the psalm that we see, and I don't know, it just encourages me, just so you know. So, and also I want to share with you something really fast here, give you guys a heads up. Thursday, my guest is Dr. Michael Heiser. We're going to be talking to him about this book, Angels, and the title is What the Bible Really Says About God's Heavenly Host, Angels. This book is going for almost $14 on Amazon. The regular hardcover, this is a hardcover, is $19.99. I have 3 copies, and I'm going to sell them for $12. So if you want one of these copies, then contact me, let me know, and I will get it to you in the mail. USA only, though, because otherwise it would cost me more than the book to actually ship it to you. So just let me know if you'd like a copy of this book for $12, and that will include the shipping as well. Okay? It reminded me here of the of the thing here on the very bottom here. Bless the Lord, you his angels, mighty in strength, who perform his word, obeying the voice of his word. And again, I don't see anything over there, so I don't know what's going on with it, but anyway. Okay, so we're going to wait for the dogs to stop barking. It's just a blue screen. Randall has set up something that he was supposed to help me out. Okay, now it's back. So I don't know what was missing with it. But anyway, so how you guys doing? Before we get into this show and the interview with Dr. Michael Lake, let me know how you're doing. Let me say hi to a couple of you. I see some of you came in. I see John is there, and Melanie and Advar, Mia, Aaron. Nice to see you, girlfriend. Glad you guys are here, and thank you already for sharing it out. I don't think this is going to work, Randall, because it just keeps going blue screen. I can't see anything. So it's going to distract me if I can't actually see it. So now it's back. So I don't know. Anyway, so how you guys doing? You doing good? Did you have a good weekend? Did you hang out with, Bareface and Weekends in the Word? What's the book, Angels? Again, I mean, obviously Angels. It's called What the Bible Really Says About God's Heavenly Host. And it's actually written by Dr. Michael Heiser, who is a brilliant biblical scholar. And actually, I'll read you the back. It says here, we all have preconceptions about angels from movies, television shows, and other media, but you might be surprised to know that a lot of those notions aren't based on anything from the Bible. That's actually true. What the Bible really says about angels is often overlooked or filtered through popular myths. This book was written to help change that. It's a book about the loyal members of God's heavenly host, and while most people associate them with the word angel, and that's just one of many terms in the Bible uses for these supernatural beings, in the unseen realm, that's his other book he wrote. He's written a lot of books. Michael Heiser opened the eyes of thousands to seeing the Bible through the supernatural worldview of the ancient world it is written in. In his latest book, Angels, Dr. Heiser reveals what the Bible really says about God's supernatural servants, illuminated by the wider context of the ancient Near Eastern world. Excuse me. Dr. Heiser reveals what's true, what's not, and why it matters for Christians today. So this is a solid book. This isn't some new agey, touched by an angel type Christian babble. It's actually very well researched, and I will tell you here that Dr. Heiser earned a PhD in Hebrew Bible and Semitic languages and holds an MA in ancient history and Hebrew studies. He's going to be my guest Thursday, but like I said, I have 3 of these. I only have 3, so $12 each. If you want one, let me know, and that includes the shipping. All right? Okay, so tomorrow is election day, and I want to give you a resource. I want to muzzle my dogs, though. Honestly, I don't know what it is today. They were perfectly fine until the show started. Anyway, tomorrow is election day, and a lot of us have already voted. I haven't, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. Voted early, and I wanted to give you guys a resource. If you're already on my text message list, I actually sent it out to you already, so you already have it. But if you go to ivoterguide.com, ivoterguide.com. You can go there. This is an interactive voter guide. All you got to do is put in your address. It will bring up the people in your area who are running for office, and it gives you an opportunity to actually see, where they stand on issues and who's running and all that. Here's what I think. Don't vote for any Democrat, okay? 0 Democrats. No D. Don't vote for one Democrat, okay? Because that's not good. And be very careful which Republican you vote for, because they're not all Republicans. Some of them are rhinos. And be careful about the independents that you vote for as well, because you never know. Because some of those are kind of, Libertarians tend to lean toward more social issues, more liberal, just so you know, like on homosexual issues and stuff. So you got to be careful about what independent or libertarian you actually vote for as well. So you have to just be careful, okay? Because, you have to just know what they believe about the issue. So if you go to ivoterguide.com, then, you can check up your thingy. I actually am more of an, I'm an independent in my beliefs, but I'm registered as a Republican, just so you know. But don't vote Democrat. Don't do that. In fact, I'm going to read you an article. I think I can find it. Let's see here. Yeah. Actually, I'll read you this article. This is over on WorldNet Daily. And this is by Dr. Jerry Newcomb. He titles this article, Midterms, will it be, quote, free stuff, unquote, or freedom? Exclusive. Jerry Newcomb urges voters to reject socialism, the politics of envy. This was actually published a week ago, but I think it's worth sharing with you. He writes, it sounds like a cliche, but this may well be the most important midterm election in our lifetime. How many times have we heard that, people? I'm serious. I get so sick of hearing stuff like this. Anyway, on the ballot, at least indirectly, will be socialism. Will Americans choose so-called, quote, free stuff, unquote, or freedom? I say so-called free stuff because there's nothing free. Somebody has to pay for it. A rising star of the left, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is the poster child for the free stuff versus freedom agenda. She surprisingly won the primary against a 10-term U.S. congressman in New York City. That is surprising, actually. Her platform calls for Medicare for all and tuition-free college and trade schools. Such political promises sound good, but what are the realities? Take the example of increased government control of our health care. Economist Stephen Moore of FreedomWorks and the Heritage Foundation wrote recently in WorldNet Daily, Americans don't have to imagine what a government-run system would look like. We have one that already covers millions of Americans. It's called the VA health system. Our veterans die in the waiting lines, and the hospitals often provide shoddy levels of care to the very people who have earned, through their service and sacrifices, the best care in the world. I have to, okay, I'm going to just say something, and I was telling this the other day. I was telling Randall this the other day regarding the Veterans Affair, the VA, okay? First of all, every military person that comes in and volunteers to serve in our military, they should be taken in by they should be given care by our government. They served our country, most of them honorably. I can't say all of them. Reed Bradley whatever his name is. Anyway, they served our country well and honorably, and they deserve to be taken care of. Okay? That's the truth. Now, people bag on the VA system. I'm guilty of that myself, because I know what a pain in the butt it actually is to get VA benefits for my dad, you know. But I have to tell you, I think that what's often overlooked is the generosity of our government and the taxpayers that have paid in to help support these veterans. Often get way more compensation than what they did in their service. And that might not be a very popular thing to say. I say it based on my father's experience. He spent 1 year in Korea, all right? And he has gotten 4 years now of benefits at almost $2,000 a month. Aid and assistance is about $1,800 for veterans. So I can't bag on our government. My dad gets aid and assistance from our government as a Korean War vet. He spent 1 year in service to Korea. Granted, he was in minefields and
Right.
he risked his life and everything, but I think he's been more than fairly compensated for his service, because nothing that he's dealing with now has anything to do with Korea. And that's the truth, right? So I think people just need to get honest about that. And do you want to say something else?
Well, just that. As you have discovered, we have discovered the benefits are commensurate with type of service. If you've been in a combat situation,
Right.
you're entitled to a larger benefit. And although 1 year in Korea, your father was in combat and clearing minefields
Yeah.
in a combat zone, as you mentioned. So that's certainly worth something. You know, it's not like...
Well, thank God he's around, because otherwise I wouldn't be.
True.
So, okay, anyway, so Dr. Newcomb goes on to say, these promises of free stuff from the government are empty promises, notes Michael Ferris, the CEO of the Alliance Defending Freedom. In a recent interview with D. James Kennedy Ministries Television, it was said, well, it never works. They're being sold a lie. You want free college? Yeah, I want free college. Everyone wants free college. I would have preferred free college, but... took me 10 years to pay off my college. But they have to recognize that somebody has to pay for it. And frankly, there's not enough somebodies around. If we took all the billionaires in the country, it would pay about 6 months of the federal government deficit. That's it. 6 months and it's gone. Nonetheless, recent polls show that more Democrats prefer socialism over capitalism, and that's especially true for younger people. They identify with socialism more than with free enterprise. In an article for The Stream, Rob Schwarzwalder, a senior lecturer at Regent University, cites a recent study on the hardcore pro-socialists in our country. Just 8% of Americans identify as progressive activists. They tend to be younger, highly engaged, secular, cosmopolitan people. Angry. They reject traditional sources of authority and privilege and focus on rectifying historical injustices. The vocal minority has certainly captured the hearts and minds of many young people today. David Barton, the founder and director of Wall Builders, told our television audience recently that in 5,500 years of recorded history, you cannot point to any socialistic nation that has increased freedom and increased prosperity for the people. That's actually true. Yet right now, 75% of students in college support socialism and think it's the best form of government. That's because they've been indoctrinated already. Anyway, now there's nothing historical you can point to. There's nothing statistically you can point to, but that's what they've been taught. Okay, hold on a minute. Oh, okay. There's a lot of ads on this page. My computer's like freezing on me. Okay. What's worse is that if these people don't get their way, they're liable to throw a tantrum. We often see that in the form of riots in the streets. Barton observes they've also been taught that if people disagree with what we're telling you, you need not tolerate that. You need to stand up. You need to go after them. You call them bigots. So we know that with college students and graduates, 53% do not support free speech, and 19% of college students right now think that violence is an acceptable response to speech they disagree with. Now that's what we've been teaching in the classrooms, and that, unfortunately, is true. In the Ten Commandments, God teaches us that we shall not steal. That is divine sanction for private property. The government should likewise not steal. That is ultimately what socialism is. Government theft from citizen A to give to citizen B. The Decalogue also condemns coveting. Yet socialism, the promise of free stuff, is essentially the politics of envy. Take from the rich and give to the poor. The Bible teaches us to help the needy. That is all voluntary. That's the church's job. When the government gets involved in the charity business, it's not only wasteful and undermines the family, human dignity, and self-reliance, but ultimately it can end up becoming tyrannical. Venezuela is a textbook case of this. That Latin American nation went from one of the naturally wealthiest nations in our hemisphere to a complete basket case. That's interesting that you put it that way. Is socialism coming? Like it or not, via the blue wave supposedly coming in the midterms. Barton advises the wave is going to be what you decide it to be when you walk in that booth and when other Christians like you walk into that booth. If they would vote conservative, biblical, constitutional values, that will be the wave that everyone will be talking about the morning after the elections. And honestly, I think that we're going to be fine. I just think that the media likes to whip up the frenzy, and I think enough Americans are smart enough to see what happened when Trump was elected, to see that, the media just wants nothing to do but, make it sound like Trump's going to lose everything, when I don't think that's going to be the case, actually. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and watch our interview with Dr. Michael Lake. As you guys know, Dr. Lake is an author. He is he's actually cool. I am going to have him on our show for a full-length interview. We actually did this. He was the very first person I actually interviewed this year. And I have to tell you something funny that took place. At least I thought it was funny. I had been in a little car accident before we went to Oklahoma, and my back was bugging me. And I hooked up with Leanne Tykrib, Carl Tykrib's wife, and I was telling her that my back hurt. And she said, I have some essential oil. I have this little concoction I put together for pain. I'll go ahead and put it on your back. I said, cool, that sounds awesome. So we went in the ladies' room, and she took the stuff and she put it on my back for me. And then I went out afterwards and saw Michael and asked him to do an interview. Well, while I was standing there, I was feeling royally lightheaded. I mean, all of a sudden, these essential oils they just made me feel like super lightheaded. So I haven't actually seen this. I don't know if I come across a little loopy or lightheaded or anything, but in the event that I do, now you know.
Well, it's actually kind of fortuitous because for whatever reason, I don't remember the timing of that. We caught in the hallway or something. But this interview was via handheld camera. I didn't have it on a tripod. Yeah. And so it kind of moves a little bit anyway. So it reflects the way you were feeling.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't even know what it was. I forgot to ask Leanne what essential oil it was, but it did help. But man, it just made me feel a little bit lightheaded. And so I remember holding the wall. I was like, okay, I'm gonna.
So viewers, if you have not taken your Dramamine, you should sit down while you
Hi,
watch
Natasha.
this.
Welcome to the show. Oh, wait, let me also say hi to some new people that came in. So Natasha's there. Oddvar, did I say hi to you before? Tina is there. Speedbird9 is there. Okay. All right. So I'm going to have to put this in so I can hear it myself.
Yeah, if I had a few hours, I would have been able to, doctor it up and whatever. We really couldn't tell. But, oops. The 20 minutes I spent on it to get it ready to render and air this afternoon. It is what it is. So there's a little bit of movement in it. Deal with it.
Oh, yeah. Deal with it yourself. Just deal with it.
All right. Ready to do this? I'm queuing this up just so you know.
All right. And there's Kim. Kim's over on Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Kim, if you're still there.
All right. Here we go.
All right. Okay. Hey, everybody. That's how I would start an interview. Say, hey, everybody. Welcome to our Bible News Radio exclusive coverage of the second annual Blessed Hope Prophecy Forum. here in Norman, Oklahoma. This is the second time Randall and I have actually been able to do this. We're super happy to. But today, I have to tell you, this is my first interview. I have to say, last year, I met Dr. Michael Lake for the first time. And actually, we have a great picture together. I actually love to use it as my Facebook thing.
Cool.
Just holding up your books in it and everything. And I didn't actually really know who he was last year. I was like, hey, I'll just meet this guy. Well, all year I watched all his stuff, literally all your stuff.
Sorry.
I have consumed your content, to the point where, it's just super cool to actually talk to you. Now that I know what you talk about, it's super cool. So tell everybody a little bit about who you are if they don't know who you are.
Well, who am I?
Who are you?
That's a good question.
It's a good question. There's an echo in this place.
I've been a preacher that's been preaching since I was 13. Seminary president. I founded the seminary back in '82. Just a charismatic preacher, just minding my own business till about 94, 95. And had the occult come after my family for about 15 years trying to kill us. They finally gave up after about 15 years. And
That's
it was yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Only 15 years?
Only 15 years, yeah. But it was a spiritual awakening for me that not only did it cause me to look at the Word of God through new eyes, I also intentionally, being ex-military, I also researched the occult because I wanted to understand the doctrine of war that they followed. And which basically became the bedground of why I wrote the Shinar Directive, to wake up Christians. And my mission is to awaken the remnant, train up and prepare the remnant, because we got a lot to do before the Lord comes back. A lot of growing up, a lot of waking up,
Yep.
and a lot of maturing at an unprecedented level.
Yeah. Well, okay, and your wife's name's Mary.
Yes.
Right? Now, I just started listening to your podcast with her. And tell everybody a little bit about you and your wife and the ministry, because, everybody knows Randall and me. But I want you guys to know that there's another couple out there doing a podcast that is very good.
Yeah, she has an interesting backstory. After we got married, in fact, when we were dating, she was getting ready to break up with me. And first time she ever really heard the voice of God, you're going to marry this guy and you're going to be doing this stuff. Yes, sir. And so she married me. Probably the first 10 years or so of our marriage sucked like a Hoover.
Only 10 years?
Only 10 years or so.
It was 3 for us.
And she had suffered depression all her life. And she began praying. And she did everything all the preachers were saying to do, jump, shout, confess. And she began praying. She said, Lord, I need you to heal me because my family deserves better. All of a sudden, a selfless prayer. God supernaturally intervened. And in the process of all that, we discovered that she had been a victim of a fragment group of MKUltra. How much Satanism was going on in our community. That's why the occult came after us. And along the way, we fell madly in love with each other. God has her. She's extremely prophetic. She's a prophetic intercessor.
Okay.
And one of the neatest fits in the world. It took me a year to get her on doing a podcast with me.
It took you a whole year?
It took a whole year.
Wow.
And after the first session we had, she looked at me and says, "Now, why haven't we been doing this before?" But it's a good fit. I think that people listen to the podcast more for her than they do for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't, but I listen because of both of you.
Yeah.
How is that for a save? Just kidding. No. No, actually, though, the whole MKUltra and the whole satanic thing, a lot of people, we typically cover stuff, and we cover the so-called fringe stuff. The problem is, and what I've learned actually listening to both of you, especially the whole intercessory prayer thing, when she was talking on a recent show about you were somewhere and she was left alone for a while, and she started breaking these curses over a particular city you were in, and she felt something release in the spirit. Now that sounds nuts to some people, right? But if you actually understand spiritual warfare and the calling, it makes complete sense. And I'm more of a believer now in what we see here happening in the physical world is a war up there that's going on.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things I'm going to be dealing with tonight, that goes all the way back to the Tower of Babel. At one time, all humanity, God basically disinherited humanity because of the Tower of Babel. But he said, okay, I'm going to give you and Jewish tradition says 70, occult tradition 72, that he turned them over to 72 principalities and powers, or 70 depending upon which tradition. But out of them he drew Abram, okay, which is the beginning of the assembly. But all humanity, America, is over principality and power, and there are sub-principalities and powers that are there. The only way to get into a place where you're divorced from a principality and become part of God's leadership is through Messiah. So America is under occult stuff. Every nation on the planet is under occult stuff. The only way that we can take ground is we've got to stand in our authority, save souls, and begin doing the warfare the way that we're called by God to do.
Okay, so God then has called you to teach people how to do that.
Yeah.
Right? And how are you received? Because like your typical conservative church Christianity thingy, you know, it doesn't cover any of this stuff. All they care about is making money with false teaching and having a good hair day.
Yes, and pearly white teeth and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things I found before I wrote the Shinar Directive and really beginning of this, I had my own cycle. I preached in churches as large as 10,000. The minute that I began doing end-time prophecy, I no longer got invited. I had a circuit I would do every single year.
Really?
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
But you know, if you come, just do something else. Don't do that. But the remnant are awakening to the place that I'm twice as busy as I've ever been. I'm already booked up for 2019 completely. As many as I want to go on.
Cool.
And I wish this would happen when I was 30 instead of approaching 60, because the remnant are really waking up and they're hungry.
Yes. Okay, so I knew I was going to ask you something. Just so you know, people, it's early. You're watching a delayed taping of this during my normal show hours at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a reason my show's at 4 in the afternoon. Plus, we drove from Texas yesterday, and then from Tennessee the day prior to that, or a couple days prior to that. So, the remnant, that's what it was. Okay. Now, this is largely a pre-trib conference. Right? Now, I understand that you're pre-wrath?
I'm about pre-wrathian.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that, because we were talking about this yesterday, Randall and I think he said he was pre-wrath too.
Yeah.
So tell us the difference, because, you know, people have this assumption that just because this is by and large a pre-trib conference, that almost everybody's in that.
Well, and I tell my friends that are pre-tribbers, if you're right, I will give you a high five on the way out, but I would rather be surprised by rapture than tribulation.
Yes.
But Jesus fulfilled the spring feast the first time he came. We're still in Shavuot. We're still in that time of gathering in the harvest.
I'm still learning that.
So to understand the book of Revelation, which is a Jewish book, you have to take the fall feast and superimpose them on there. We always look at the sounding of the trumpets. The trumpets aren't the judgment. It's the wrath of God begins with the pouring of the vials, which begins at the seventh trumpet. And, you know, dispensationalism says, well, it'll take so many years for the trumpets to sound. You have 9 trumpets that blast on one day on the Feast of Trumpets.
Okay.
Which I think is also the harpazo that were caught away.
Okay. That's the rapture for you.
The rapture.
If you don't know that.
Which may happen well into the tribulation period. In fact, the book of Revelation only really covers the last 3.5 years. It doesn't actually cover the full 7 years. And when you follow it, there's the announcements from heaven, between the Feast of Trumpets and the Day of Atonement, which is a divine rehearsal of the Valley of Armageddon. Okay? Because if you don't humble yourself before God, you're kosher. You're cut off. Is 10 days. 10 days for the wrath of God to be poured out. We're going to have angels preaching the gospel.
It's going to be cool.
But 10 days is also the exact same length of a Jewish wedding feast.
Oh, that's cool. See, okay, so you see how important your Hebrew roots are.
Yeah.
You know, not the Hebrew roots movement per se, but the Hebrew roots.
Understanding that the Word of God is an organic book. It's one book written by one author. The Genesis through Revelation is inspired, and it is appropriate for all believers.
You know what gets me is that a lot of Christians don't think like American Christians seem to have this like we live in a bubble, we don't deserve to be persecuted type stuff, right? I mean, we don't think that, you know, like ISIS isn't going to come and kill us here, or anybody else for that matter.
No, it's the communists, but anyway.
Yeah, but see, that's the interesting thing for me. You know, I don't know if you know this, but I wrote the Voice of the Martyrs persecution blog for 8 years. So I covered that for 8 straight years. I get it. I see the worldwide picture. We're pretty much the only place that's not being persecuted to death.
Well,
but it's coming.
Even when you look at, and And I tell, those that believe in pre-trib, I really hope they're right, But when you look at that doctrine in China, as the communists were beginning to take over in China, all those that were pre-trib said, the Lord isn't going to let it get bad enough, we'll be safe. He'll come back before it gets bad enough. Those that thought we might have to go through something said, well, if Jesus said flee to the mountains before, it's good enough now. And all the pre-tribbers were slaughtered by the communist Chinese. The only reason that Christianity is still here today in China were the ones that fled to the mountains. And I think part of it is this misunderstanding, even if it is a pre-trib rapture. In dispensationalism, they overlap. That's why during Jesus' ministry, you had people preaching the gospel that weren't his apostles. And Jesus said, don't worry about it, I've got other sheep. It was an overlapping of dispensational truth. So if we're getting into the age of judgment, it will overlap with the age of grace. In other words, it can get real rough before the Lord comes back.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so what can your materials do? Because I'm part of the remnant, for sure. Just so you know, in case you didn't know that. And so are you.
Yeah.
And I mean, you gotta be a little weird to be a part of the remnant, especially as a believer that actually believes in stuff.
I've been in it so long, to me it feels normal.
Yeah.
And for me, what feels unnatural is for a sleeping saint.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you.
Laodicean Christians drive me
Crazy?
batty.
Yeah, they drive me crazy too. Christian and name only Christians that drive me crazy. Well, I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so tell them about your stuff and what they can get from you.
Several things. I've got books. It's basically going to become an entire series. The Shinar Directive is so that you can see historically what it began with Nimrod and how that it's still being done today. His directive he established in the plains of Shinar is still being done today by all the mystery religions. It's going to end when Jesus comes back, and there's this huge confrontation. So that's a wake-up call. The second book, the Sheerith Imperative. Sheerith is Hebrew for remnant. It's the remnant imperative to stand against the Shinar Directive. That we need militarily, there are two ways to attack the enemy that is effective. You have to cut off the power line, their supply line, and their communications. I actually postulate what I believe the supply line is. Why did Lucifer even need humans? Why bring us into the conflict? He's an anointed cherub.
Yes.
Okay. When he fell or tried to actually create his ascension, okay, when in the 5 I wills he tried to create a pseudo grace, and when he tried to ascend, he fell and he perverted that anointing. It's called iniquity now. His entire kingdom operates on it, but he's not like God. God is all powerful. He had a smidgen. Okay. We become, because of humans, we produce after like kind. If he could infuse humanity with iniquity, as we begin to live sin, he could pull from that sin to power his kingdom.
Well, that makes sense. That actually makes sense.
And so when you look at the principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness in heavenly places, when you look at the Greek, that last one does not portray an entity. It's his black river of power, the iniquity force. That the occultists, and I point out in my second book how the occultists long to learn how to tap in and master that force. That's the premise behind Freemasonry and everything else. And so the rest of the book is a wake-up call. We're going to be called to the greatest level of spiritual warfare the church has ever seen. God took his disciples to Mount Hermon, ground zero for the Watchers. You had the gates of hell there. You had Nimrod's fortress there. And he says, the gates of hell, all of that will not be able to stand with what I'm going to do with the church. And we get to be a part of that. That's why we're waking up. We're getting deeper into the Word than ever before. And we're learning the continuity of the Word, how it flows from Genesis to Revelation. And when you begin connecting all the dots, it'll change your life.
Amen. All right, everybody. Hey, Randall's telling me to wrap this up. Wrap it up. Thank you for being my guest.
Oh, white. Good being here today.
Wait, you guys tell them your website, though.
KingdomIntelligenceBriefing.com, or you can just type in drmichaellake.com. It'll take you there, too.
That's right. Okay, so that's Dr. Michael Lake, and what I want to do is I want to encourage you, check out his YouTube channel. I think that's probably the place that gives you the most information. I think he has a website too, but his YouTube channel is packed. And if you want to watch the latest stuff that he does, if you go to youtube.com youtube.com/user/biblical life. Okay, so it's youtube.com/user/biblical life, or you can just put in Dr. Michael Lake, and his YouTube channel will come up under that too. It's called Biblical Life Assembly: Deep Waters to Nurture and Empower the Remnant Scattered Abroad. He's got almost 11,000 subscribers, so he's got quite the following, and you can listen to all of his stuff there. It's very fascinating. You know, some of it, it's kind of like, you know, you look at it and you're like, huh, you know, but there's a lot of food for thought there. And, you know, I haven't found much with him that I disagree with. Of course, I disagree with Bareface on lots of stuff. So, you know, we're still married, but just kidding.
Yeah, well, I could agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong.
Yeah, we would. All right, so let's thank our sponsor. Ariel Ministries is our sponsor. If you guys aren't familiar with Ariel, then let me tell you, if you go over to ariel.org, ariel.org, you can go there anytime, day or night, and you can use the coupon code Bible News and buy anything over there in the store. And let you know that this month over on our website, we're giving away their free Bible study, Messianic Bible study on Satanology. So if you want to learn about Satanology, what the Bible actually teaches on Satan, who he is, what he does, what his job is, then I would encourage you to go to my website, BibleNewsRadio.com, and right there on the front page, it says get a free Messianic Bible study on Satanology. I think it's 37 pages long. It's a whole PDF, and just click there, you can get it. And then the other thing we wanted to tell you about is it's the school, right, Randall?
Well, we can tell them about that.
Yeah, the school. Ariel School, what's the website on that? ARI, Ariel. You'd think I'd know this by heart. What is it? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Ariel Courses?
I think that might be it.
Yeah, arielcourses.com. Okay, arielcourses.com. This is an intensive online Bible teaching from Messianic Jewish perspective. They have 3 classes, it looks like right there. You can take Yeshua, Life of the Messiah, from a Messianic Jewish perspective. Dispensational Israelology, which is Dr. Arnold Fruchtenbaum's master's doctoral thesis. It was on Israelology, the missing link in systematic theology. And just out of curiosity, those of you in the chat room, how often does your pastor talk about Israel? Just curious, because there's these different views about Israel, but most pastors don't even mention Israel, which is tragic, because that's where the whole Bible pretty much takes place. Anyway, and then the other course is the Book of Genesis, Part 1. And so if you want to get a good education, you can sign up there. You can't use the coupon code because it's a separate entity, but if you want to learn more and hear Dr. Arnold Fruchtenbaum, there's actually a video on there that will give you an opportunity to learn a little bit more from him, and you can actually hear him and see who he is, and see why this man has been booked up years in advance for decades. I mean, I've known his wife almost, 28 years, something like that. And just saying, Arnold has been literally all over the world teaching. So there's that. Also, want to let you know that I only have about 2 more of these left. This is what I'm calling the Israel Fearless Prayer Package. If you're interested in getting one of these, both these books for a donation of $15, and that includes the shipping. Let me know as soon as possible. I plan on shipping packages tomorrow. So if you want one, this would be a good day to get it so that I can get it out to you tomorrow. Otherwise, you'll have to wait a couple more days. All right, just go to our website, donate the $15, and we'll get it out to you. America only, just so you know. Okay, and
United States of. Although really we're divided people. Yeah, we are. And tomorrow we'll see it in the election results in the evening. Or will we? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if we will or not. And thank you, Zam, I don't know how to say that guy's name, for the super heart. But if you're back, thank you for the super heart. I forgot how to say your name. So, but thank you. And Diane, thanks for coming in. Stephen, hey, thanks for coming in, Stephen. Missed you.
And I think did I get everybody else coming in. Okay. All right. So there's a couple other articles I wanted to share with you. This next one is on Social Security. And I'm going to read this article. I'm going to tell you, the reason I pulled this article ultimately was because of the whole issue of identity theft, right? You guys still need to get your identity theft protection if you hadn't yet. But this is really interesting, not only on the identity theft front, but also on the prophecy front. So let's look at this article over on NBCnews.com. I'm scrolling down the page, people. Okay, so it says here, experts agree that Social Security numbers need to change, but there's no solution in sight. Most fixes suggested for updating the SSN system are either technologically untested, expensive to implement, or both. If you go to arielcourses.com, those aren't free courses, Gina. Those are ones you got to pay for. Anyway, okay. So this article says, at a recent panel on modernizing Social Security numbers, Candace Worley, Vice President and Chief Technical Strategist, Grover.
Strategist.
Hey, Grover. Hey, Mister, come here, Bubba. Here he comes. Come here. Hey. Get over here. Okay, look, you need to be quiet, okay? I'm doing my show. Okay? All right, he's sitting next to me now. He can't bark. Okay. And Prophecy Watchers is upset because they have interruptions. All right. It says here, at a recent panel on modernizing Social Security numbers, Candace Worley, Vice President and Chief Technical Strategist.
Don't go all W on us.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, hey, Mr. John says hi. Anyway, strategist for cybersecurity firm McAfee laid out the core problem with the national identity system that has been in place since 1936. You can't have 80% of your numbers compromised and continue to consider it a secure form of identity, Worley said. 80%! Social Security numbers, or SSNs, remain an integral part of how Americans and U.S. residents are identified for everything from opening bank accounts and applying for loans to enrolling in Medicare and filing taxes. But a series of major data breaches in the past decade have exposed the Social Security numbers of almost 158 million Americans. That's it, just 158. Opening a large majority of the country to the risk of identity theft, which was the reason I pulled the article. Those breaches have pushed privacy advocates and politicians to call for a new system. Time is of the essence, Representative Sam Johnson, who's a Republican in Texas and chairman of the House Social Security Subcommittee. We must promptly evaluate options and begin putting in place those that will best protect Americans from identity theft. The problem is well recognized, but the solution isn't. Experts and politicians have warned that the SSN system is badly in need of an update, but there's little consensus on just what should be done. Most solutions are either technologically untested, expensive to implement, or both. Get smart. One of the most common suggestions for updating SSNs is moving the U.S. to a smart card system. Like the one suggested in a recent report from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, or CSIS, a nonprofit research organization that aims to provide solutions for current and emerging foreign policy and national security issues. The simplest approach to modernization would be for the U.S. to transform the venerable Social Security card into a smart card, which would be a plastic card with a readable chip. Yeah, it would. Similar to modern credit cards with report states. The report states. Under that system, Americans would use two numbers, an encrypted Social Security number and a proxy number that would link the smart card and could be changed if compromised. See, they're even admitting, even if they do that, it could be compromised. James A. Lewis, Senior Vice President at CSIS and author of the report, said that smart cards offer the most attractive approach for the immediate future because they build on existing technology and involve a widely adopted embedded chip that people are already comfortable using in credit cards. They would also enable an incremental approach to modernization that could curtail inevitable hiccups along the way. Others aren't optimistic about smart cards. Paul Grassi, an identity and cybersecurity expert who served as senior standards and technology advisor at the National Institute of Standards and Technology, a non-regulatory agency that develops technical standards, said smart cards aren't a good solution. Giving me a smart card does nothing unless the entire global infrastructure of institutions is changed to be able to interact with a smart card. It'll never happen. The cost would be too astronomical. But I wonder what could happen. Maybe if they just took a chip and decided to put it in our forehead or the hand or something like that, then, and they all connected it to the internet, and then all of a sudden there would be this one world technological issue here, and that would protect all of our identities because nobody could then steal the chip out of us unless they cut off our hand or something. I don't know, Bareface. What do you think?
Well,
it's actually, there's more to the article. It's kind of long.
Yeah, it would cut down the cost as well. Here in Degrassi is saying that, a smart card doesn't help unless the entire global infrastructure of global institutions is changed to be able to interact with a smart card. Why change all the institutions to interact with a smart card? If you change, all the, at least, everybody home to have a smart card reader, or not a smart card reader, but the chip reader, that can't be all that expensive. If you've got the chip reader at home, so most of the things that you do with government institutions and the like, shopping online is already a big thing, and most government things, even here in a relatively rural area, they prefer that you renew your, license plates online and that stuff, your card registration. They prefer you do stuff online, pay your bills online. Then, a simple chip reader, which isn't that expensive,
right,
in people's homes would take care of, most of the transactions needed. And if it was, it wouldn't have to be a card reader, especially if it was embedded in your hand or something like that, then anyway. I think it's likely that we'll see something like that.
Well, I think because, two comments coming in. First of all, Paul doesn't realize I call you Bareface because that's your nickname. Yeah, Bareface. It's not his real name. Anyway, and then Gina said here, they have those chips available today, works on your body power, and most be planted in your right hand or forehead. Did you know that? Yeah. I did know that. And the reason why is because of where your heat comes from. And in Revelation, it actually talks about this. So, they talk about the number of the beast and all this other stuff. Now, the thing is there is speculation and differences, I guess, about what that could be. Honestly, here's my opinion. I don't care. Because I don't plan on being here. I think that at least the position I hold says I'm going to be gone before that takes place. So hopefully I'm correct in
Maybe.
that.
Yeah, I hope you're correct too, but
well,
it may not be.
Yeah, well, if we're not, then, I will probably get killed then because I don't plan on getting chipped in any way.
Yeah, because my understanding of chronology that Dr. Lake was just talking about, it seems like that sort of situation comes before God's outpouring of wrath, before the last trumpet sounds to initiate the.
So maybe there could be a way then to actually have this happen. Let's just speculate, okay? So
wildly speculate.
So let's say this happens, okay, and then everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Oh, this is awesome. I can't believe it. World peace is here. No.
Free college. And,
free everything.
And
anyway,
free living wage.
All hail to the leader of the free world, which is the whole world now. And I don't know, anyway. And then the end will come. And then the master deceiver decides, oh, you know what? 3.5 years later, that you know what? He pulls the switch and there it is. I
Well,
believe
now-
we'll be here for that, but God will protect his elite, says Aaron. Yeah, you know, I believe since I was in the 80s, since I got saved, that I will be a part of that rapture generation.
Yeah, well, I can see that. Well, now that the world is prepared, the world is one, then our brothers from space, they see that we've evolved into a world that can get along, and they're back here now to help us evolve the rest of the way, except for those, outcasts, those rebels that won't buy into this one world system, that won't sing Kumbaya and embrace anything and everything. Well, then they're taken out by
Yeah.
our intergalactic benefactors.
Right. Aaron says yes, but the rapture doesn't mean we escape the tribulation. Yeah. Oh no, you know what? I mean, anybody who thinks and this
lives in Nigeria.
I mean, and this is what I was saying in that interview. Anybody any Christian, especially in America, that seriously thinks that we won't endure some type of Christian persecution is highly blinded to the rest of the Christian church in the world. Because most of the other church in the world, most of the real Christian church in the world is being persecuted right now unto death, especially in socialist countries, communist countries, and third world countries where the governments just control the people. I mean, so that's why voting tomorrow, to bring it back to that, is extremely important, you know what I'm saying? Because we here for a time have the opportunity as free citizens of this country to vote. And you know what? You need to do it. I don't care if you vote for one person. Just do it. I mean, there are other countries that they actually get an opportunity to vote. They're told who to vote for and they have ink on their finger, right? I mean, we've seen this. Here in America, as crappy as the politics are and the stuff out there, you know what? God placed you in this country for such a time as this, so do your due diligence. If you're old enough to vote, vote. And like I said earlier, go to ivote.com, and there's no excuse. I'm giving you a resource. Go there, ivote.com. I got it from my friend Janet Porter from Faith to Action. She sent it out in her email today. ivote.com. Just go there, download it, or click on it. Put in your address. It'll tell you who's running. It gives the positions and everything on the candidates, and then do it. Go do it. Okay. All right. I'm debating if I want to. I have 3 more stories, but let me also throw this in before I forget. If you want identity theft protection, and you haven't gotten it from me yet, please contact me. Just contact me so we can go ahead and get you signed up for it. Because honestly, and here's the thing, those of you who already do have it, and I know a couple of you are in the chat room, make sure that you go and you fill out everything you possibly can fill out in your identity theft back office. Because the more info you have in there, the more you're using your service and the more protected you're going to be. And that's the truth. It really is. And make sure you download your app. If you guys have any problems with me, or if you have any problems with me, let me know. If you have any problems doing that, let me know, and I'll do my best to help you out as best I can. Those of you who haven't signed up, though, you can go to bit.ly/protectme, all caps. You can sign up right there through my website, or just contact me directly, which is my preference because I don't want you signing up for the wrong package. If you're an individual, I want you to be able to get that versus the family and all that. All right. Also, this week, aside from having Dr. Michael Heiser on the show on Thursday, I'm also going to be... oh, you got your email? Yay! It took a long time, didn't it? To Wednesday, I'm actually going to be talking about the issue of abuse, because and denial, and how people deny people who've been abused. I have a great guest coming on the show on Wednesday. The Canadian app isn't live yet, but the rest is great. Okay, good. Well, hopefully they'll get the Canadian app out there. And by the way, if anybody is in Canada, and you're in the Alberta, Canada area, in that province up there, and you want identity theft protection, you get your whole family covered for $12.95 a month. Your whole family, which is like about $10 cheaper than America. So it's a great deal in Canada. It's like half price in Canada. So if you know anybody, let me know. Okay, we'll get you signed up there. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead here. It says here, hopefully the voters are voting blue and help get the orange clown out of office. Okay, and Christian dominionists will be the downfall of this country. Well, I respect your right to free speech. I don't agree with you, but I do respect that you have a right to say it. So thank you for coming in and sharing. All right. Looks like our time's up then. Okay, so tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to look at some more headlines. We'll look at maybe some of the, the latest and greatest stuff happening. And you guys also... I know, John. I know. Anyway, so... and don't forget, go to BibleNewsRadio.com, sign up for my email list. I'm going to be sending out an email later. If you're not on our text message list, you can also text... you can text the term Bible News to 33222. That's actually the best place to really connect with me, to be honest. That's where I connect with most of you. Just do that, and we'll stay in touch. And remember, more than anything, as Christians, we are not of this world. We're to be in the world, or to be in the world, but not of the world. And we're supposed to occupy. What is it, Randall? Something in occupy.
Occupy till he comes?
Yeah, we're supposed to occupy. I don't have a scrolling thing to read. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So did you guys see in the interview when I was like, wait, hold on a minute. And I touched the wall? When I touched the wall, that's when I was feeling dizzy, just so you know, in case you didn't see that. Okay, anyway. It's something in occupy. I don't know. Anyway, just remember that, you're here to be salt and light. And, all that. I heard that Republicans are to vote tomorrow and Democrats vote on Wednesday. And Maggie says Trump has no idea about Christianity. Well, I don't know. I don't know him personally. Okay, anyway, so you guys have a great rest of your evening. Be bold. Stand up. And go with God because he loves you. And get out and vote tomorrow. All right? And we will see you tomorrow night, Lord willing. Same time.